Israel doesn't want you to know the extent of its damage or any of the damage that it's inflicting. The government has issued an unprecedented order restricting Israeli media from publishing details about the war, like the videos that you're seeing right here on your screen, being banned by the IDF, not allowing you to see a lot of this unfolding in and around Tel Aviv specifically. The Tel Aviv, the Israeli Stock Exchange was hit. Interceptor missiles fall. Here's the Israeli Stock Exchange that was hit. Interceptor missiles that are falling into civilian areas. So these are Israel's own Iron Dome interceptor missiles, which are going right through the roofs of civilians in their own neighborhoods. They don't want you to see that. They don't want you to see civilian deaths. The IDF military censor applies to Israeli media and any foreign media operating inside of Israel. So like if you're a Fox News reporter, if you're an MSNBC reporter, anything, like you're being told basically what you're allowed to show and not allowed to show at this point. The censorship rule extends beyond Gaza, banning Israeli press from publishing stories that could damage national morale or aid the enemy. In other words, don't show what's really going on here, the fog of war. But this just popped up in Tel Aviv, calling on President Trump to finish the job. This was a big banner rolled out right across Tel Aviv today, which shows finish the job. All right, so we want to bring in Colonel Davis now to talk about all of this. He's been watching this very, very closely and to have a deeper discussion about all of this. Colonel, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me here. Sorry for the delay.
Oh, no worries. We're just watching what's unfolding because it's like minute to minute right now. The Israeli media clamping down on this, really a censorship regime put in place so you can't see what's happening there. Yesterday we had Dr. Gilbert Doctorow on the show who says that the Iron Dome has about a week left. I spoke to some Israelis today inside of Tel Aviv who say that may or may not be true, but imagine waking up every day having to spend $40 million on using interceptors. He's like, these Israelis told me that there's a lie being told about the Iron Dome, that when we see these missiles coming in, these hypersonics or these other missiles coming in from Iran, that we're launching like one interceptor from the Iron Dome and we're having a 90% success rate. That's a lie. We're sending up dozens of interceptors from the Iron Dome, and almost all of them are failing. We may get one or two successfully that hit. So we're expending millions upon millions of dollars from the Iron Dome on a regular basis. Then you saw Seymour Hersh's reporting that says that the Iranian strike is coming from the president. What is your assessment, Colonel?
Yeah, listen, in terms of the Iron Dome, it's a multi-layered system. It's the Iron Dome, it's the David Sling, it's the Arrow 3, it's the U.S. THAAD system, U.S. Patriot systems, and according to Netanyahu earlier today, also our Aegis ships in the sea off the coast, all of which are trying to help provide air defense for Israel. But as we had Ted Postel, a former MIT professor, on the show yesterday, who graphically depicted that there are whole scores of flows of Iranian missiles that come in that don't even have an attempt at an interception. And then some of the video where there were some attempts, you see most of them miss. It's looking like somewhere around 10% effectiveness, which is actually surprising in some regards. It's that high because a lot of the interceptor missiles, especially those the hypersonic missiles, there's nothing that either we or Israel has that can intercept those. That's why they're having such effect on the ground. So we need to understand that very clearly, that this mirage that Israel had, this protective air defense dome over it, which was always a myth, now is being exposed as a myth. And who knows that maybe that's the reason why Trump postponed for his alleged answer for whether or not he's going to join the war for a couple of weeks, because maybe they want to get more interceptors in for Israel, because, I mean, at least 10% is better than no percent. So maybe they need to restock that. I don't have any independent knowledge about whether they're running out of interceptor missiles a lot. I read the Wall Street Journal article that said that they were running low. It stands to reason, because when you use that many missiles over this concentrated period of time, you're going to run short on them, and we don't have the capacity to continue to manufacture these things at pace. We can't do it for ourselves, for Ukraine, or Israel. So hopefully President Trump is looking at some spreadsheets and going, it wouldn't be a good idea to get into a war that we don't have the capacity to continue to wage to protect our people and still have any kind of a success. So I really hope that's what is going on.
Now, it gives us a sense that Israel and the American administration, no matter who's in power in the Uniparty, has lied to us about an Iron Dome, giving us this false sense of security that it can be done when clearly it can't. And Israelis should feel lied to about this, watching bombs rain down in a city they said they were told this couldn't happen to. But is there maybe some tactical... It's awful to say this, but people have been dying there for years now, that let Israel run out and then they have to negotiate when their government shows no appetite for negotiation. In fact, they launched this to thwart negotiations. Is there who has to die in the meantime, but is that a tactic?
Well, listen, I mean, it's not like they need to run out. I mean, I think that they need to be cognizant they don't have a protection now. Whether they have another 500 missiles or not, they're still going to get a very small percentage of the incoming missiles. Of course, we also don't know how many more Iran has. There's some allegations they have several thousand more that they could use. Some people claim they're getting close to the end. No one really knows. We'll just have to wait and see what continues to happen. I'm pretty confident that Iran would, even if they were getting low, they would have reserved a certain amount for the expectation that they have to fight the United States someday, and they don't want to do that empty-handed. So I'm sure that they have some decent amount left, but that needs to be happening. What you described, finding a way out of this diplomatically needs to be happening right now. But unfortunately, from all I've seen today, and I saw a number of comments from Netanyahu, that he's just trying, doubling down and trying to suck the United States in to fight this for him, because I think they realize militarily they're not going to be able to win this on the ground or achieve any kind of success that they may want. They're not going to be able to take out the Fordo system. And by the way, just to be clear, in case anybody's confused on this, the claim that our GBU-57 bunker buster, that 30,000-pound bomb, would take out Fordo, I think is very unlikely to be accurate, because what nobody that I've seen is talking about this in the Western side is that the Iranians apparently, according to some Chinese sources, have developed their system so that instead of just a bunch of ground or just concrete that the missile could try to penetrate through, it's actually broken up in granite and some angles. And so when the missile comes in, it will knock it off course and deflect it, and then it can be broken up by the other pieces. Probably 50 feet is about all you're going to get, and you got to go more than 300 to get there if you know where under the ground at Fordo the actual systems are, and we don't know that. So everybody needs to understand the chances of us actually taking this out, even if we enter the fight, is pretty low. And why would you want to risk something that has a low probability of success and a high probability of getting Americans killed in the blowback that would definitely come is anybody's guess. And I again hope that's the reason why Trump delayed, because sources I had in the White House told me that the chance that there would have been a bomb drop by this weekend was pretty high. And now all of a sudden it looks like it won't be. But then again, who can really tell with Trump, right? He can change his mind anytime.
Maybe a two-pronged question here. What does China do? Sources I've been speaking to today say this is the big wild card here. China will not lose their proxy in Iran. They have massive deals, Belt and Road Initiative deals with Iran, massive amounts of oil deals that fuel China. They are not going to allow Iran to fall. So what will China do? And I guess the other piece of this is when you hear Khomeini say that the battle has just begun and Israel is sort of battening down the hatches for tonight. Tonight in the next 48 hours could be pivotal. What do you think that he means by the battle has just begun?
Well, I think that I guess, well, let me take your questions in order. First of all, about the Chinese. I mean, a lot of reports have been suggesting over the last 2 or 3 days, a lot of Chinese transports, 747 style aircraft have come in delivering something. We don't know what. I actually think the bigger issue is what Vladimir Putin said. I think it was earlier today, maybe it was yesterday. I saw the video this morning where he said, listen, we're going to be, my people are going to be at the Bashir nuclear facility. We might go as many as 600 people in there, and we are not leaving. Making it clear that if you want to go to war with Russia, you hit that facility. But otherwise, he said, we're not going to leave. So that raises the stake and the possibility of escalation, or else Israel will simply fail in its objective to destroy the nuclear capacity if they can't hit Bashir. And I don't know what other sources he may be under. But I'm sorry, what was the second part of your statement there?
Just about the battle
about
just
what could happen
beginning.
in the next, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So listen, Iran fought an 8-year war with Iraq. They suffered over 1 million casualties. Some have it even higher than that, but apparently the low end is a million. Over 8 years, they know what it means to suffer, and they were willing to put forth whatever effort is needed to continue to survive as a nation. And of course, the hope is that a lot of these folks have had, Lindsey Graham being apparently the chief among them, is that they want a regime change, and they figure that they'll try Libya style to weaken the government apparatus enough so that they can't control the population, and then the population will rise up and overthrow him. I suppose there's some possibility of that. I think it's pretty low, though, because Iran is aware of that. They are certainly aware of the Libyan model, and I think that they have built-in fire breaks for that. But if that doesn't happen, I mean, you can't win a war by just lobbing a bunch of bombs in a country as big as Iran. I mean, for crying out loud, it's whatever it is, like 20 times bigger than Israel or so, and much bigger than Iraq. So you're not going to defeat that nation by lobbing a few missiles. So I really don't know what the Israeli objective, their military objectives are, because it seems pretty unlikely to me they're going to succeed in any of them.
Now, talk a little bit about the way that this is presented to the American people, as if it will be easy, as if, precision strikes is all it takes, is that we can minimize civilian deaths, as if Iran is this backwater that, there's nothing there anyway, so who cares what we do to it? This is all a part of the narrative we saw selling us the war in Iraq.
Yeah, there are too many illusions between the 2003 Iraq War and this one for my comfort, the least of which is that it's not going to be that hard. And, when trying to sell us on all this information that, intelligence says that they were just about to have a bomb, and we just have to take their word for it, even though all of our intelligence sources said that they didn't, and they didn't have a plan, they didn't have an intention to do so, or they have started. Now, they do have the capacity, and events like this, what has happened so far is maybe exactly the thing, and I've been warning about this for years. If you want to push Iran to the bomb, do this, because if you make them calculate that the only way we can guarantee our national security is by having a nuclear bomb, this will push them in that direction, as opposed to working diplomatically where you gave them every reason not to do so, where everybody could have lived in peace. But we have chosen not to do that. The Lindsey Grahams of this world, the Ted Cruzes of this world, no, they want to join in with Benjamin Netanyahu to destroy and kill everybody in the Middle East they don't want. And what is it? Newt Gingrich last night went on Fox News on Hannity and said this is a golden opportunity. This is going to be the Gorbachev Thatcher moment. It's going to be Trump and Netanyahu, and they're going to usher in this peace. They're going to put in place a friendly government that's friendly to the West inside Iran. It's going to be great. And I'm like, what planet are you guys living on? I mean, have you been smoking some cocaine or something? Because
planet
my goodness,
war propaganda. That's their planet.
Yeah, it is. But, even if you take morality out of it, why pursue something that has almost no chance of success unless you're like, well, maybe if we roll the dice and it happens to work, cool. And if not, well, it's just the Israeli people and the Iranian people that die. So, yeah, it's worth it. Then maybe you need to look at the moral compass a little bit closer, because militarily it doesn't have hardly any chance of success, and it could cost us a lot. They think it's cost-free. It is not cost-free to try that, and we may find out to our demise just how costly it is.
Let me ask you this question, because in his fantastic book, Imperial Hubris, Michael Scheuer, who was CIA, exposes how the CIA had warned Washington it could not win a war in Afghanistan, and it knew that because it helped the Mujahideen fight off Russia. And so all intelligence said there's no winning in Afghanistan, but we did it anyway because it was fun. Is there intelligence that says this already about Iraq that Iran, that is being kept from us?
I don't have any access to that myself, so I couldn't speak one way or the other. But based on the actions, I can only assume that there are plenty of smart people that realize this, that know that it's virtually impossible to succeed here, that understand how military affairs work, balance of power and all that kind of stuff, and understand that Iran has certainly foreseen this possibility in all of its defensive capacity, and I'm sure they were clearly caught off guard. I mean, it was kind of a Pearl Harbor moment for them where they were, sucker punched, et cetera, and they lost a lot of senior people. And that took, of course, over a number of days, which I frankly found a bit surprising that Iran was not better at protecting their senior leaders after that initial barrage, because they've lost a lot of people. That seems to have dried up. Now they're trying to protect them, but they lost a lot in here. But all of those folks can be replaced and will be replaced, and they'll go on. Just like when we assassinated Soleimani in January 2020, he got replaced, and they continue to operate. It doesn't change anything as long as the system is still in place, and you can't destroy the system with a few missiles, because Israel doesn't have enough. It just doesn't work that way. So it should trouble us all that whether it's Israel or some of the United States that want to get behind this don't understand how wars work, and they've started an operation that can't be fixed. Let's don't get involved with what the mistake that Netanyahu has already made by committing his country to a course of war that they don't have the resources and the ability to finish, by getting ourselves impaled in this. Trump needs to recognize that there's no win here. There's no success, and a lot of potential cost to the United States. And I really hope that this 2-week pause that he's announced here is because he recognizes this can't work, and then he finds some diplomatic way out. I really hope that's what's happening.
From your mouth to God's ears. Yeah, absolutely. Colonel Davis, always great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us, as always. And people should watch your excellent show. It's a must-watch in our house. So thank you, Colonel.
Yeah, I watch it all the time. Every time there's a new video, I'm on it. So, yeah.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say.